Hey ladies, welcome back to another video, another episode. So, today I'm going to be sharing some shifts that I am going to be making entering 2026 to level up even more of my confidence, my self image, my dream goals. So, if you yourself been feeling this pull towards leveling up, like how you see yourself, how you show up in the world, how you own your desires entering 2026, then this is something that I definitely want to share with you because some of the shifts that I may be making may be something that you needed to hear to help you activate that next level too. And so let's go ahead and get into it. If you see me looking down, it's because I have my notes. So, first things first is one of the shifts that I'm making is allowing myself to play with my ideas, to play with my creativity, to play with my desires without restriction. And a lot of ways that I'm doing this, I'm really doing this primarily in my business, but you can apply this to multiple things in your life, whether it is in your career, whether it is in your relationships, or in some of your dream goals. You can use this same shift to take it to the next level. And what I mean about play is because what I want is to get out of this box, this restriction of what we believe that we need to do to have certain things a certain way. Your desires, your goals, your vision, it shouldn't feel restrictive. It shouldn't feel boxed in. And a lot of times, these restrictions is what is holding us back. It is really holding us back from that next level. We're made to create, we're made to experience, we're made to really dive into the unknown and live out our desires. Our desires are there for a reason. So if you've been holding yourself down, your desires down, your ideas, your creativity, and you feel restricted in it, if you feel called to this, allow yourself to play. And so, what I feel like restrictions look like. So, one is I have to do it this way because this is what everyone says it needs to be like. This is how I'm supposed to do it. Again, whether it is in your business, you think you're supposed to do things one way because you're watching so many videos, you're listening to so many people's ideas and taking in their opinions about how you should do things that you're blocking out your own creative juices. You're blocking out, you have intuition, you have desires, you have creativity coming. And then what happens, boom, you pause it. You stop it because you feel like, but this isn't the right way. I'm going to listen to these other people. And there's a time and place to listen to other people. But what I've realized is that you can listen to other people, and some you can take pieces, but still own your ideas because then you're going to be able to see what you are capable of. You're going to be able to create your own rules. Like, you can approach it your own way. This makes it more fun. This makes it more exciting when you get to own that, because there is not only one way. And so what I've decided to do to play with my desires, play with my ideas, play with my creativity is really just scratch restrictions altogether and choose to do what feels good. Choose to do what is screaming to me, what is like making me excited, what is turning me on, than following rules. And so, what this requires for me, what I had to do in order to shift some of these things is question beliefs, right? To shed what feels restrictive. A lot of times, these are limiting beliefs. These are the things that keep us boxed in, that keeps us fearful in play, fearful in experimenting. thinking that we have to do things one way, a certain way, someone else's way. But what if you decided to start questioning your beliefs? Start questioning beliefs that you've internalized. Sometimes a lot of these beliefs, like I already said, is from other people's opinions. But what I've learned, especially with increasing your self image, increasing your confidence, and your belief in yourself, is learning to form your own beliefs, learning to follow your own path. Why? Because this is going to increase your confidence. Once you start seeing that you get to bet on yourself, you get to take a risk, you get to step into the unknown, and you survived it and you experience something that you was told wasn't going to be able to work out that way. Once you get to do that and you see it, guess what? Your confidence levels up. And each time you do this, it's going to go to a new level and a new level and a new level. I've always played with certain ideas. And what I mean by playing is about being, when I think about play, is not just about like, wee, haha, like this is so fun. Yes, this is fun. But it's like being playful and just being flowy, being a little bit of a risk taker, being a little dangerous, being a little bit of a bad girl, right? These are things that unleashes a new level of you. We can unlock new levels of confidence if we stay restricted, if we can play, because this is how we build courage. This is how we build trust, which is that confidence. This is how you get to see different levels of yourself. And even though I've played with different ideas and different experiences, which got in me, even creating content. When I first started creating content, I started a little bit with short form, but I was already creating like my podcast. And in my mind, I thought, okay, I only can do interviews because I just had this idea, this restrictive idea for some reason, that podcasting was only for interviews. And this was the only way that it was going to be great. But even though I was taking on interviews, and that was fun, and that was bringing in listeners, there was something that I was restricted. There was something that felt trapped. And that was because I wanted to express my own opinions. I wanted to bring my own ideas, my own experience from lived experience and my insight to the world. Not just taking other people's insight because I thought theirs was more valuable than mine. So I started to play around with it and do one solo video. It was fully scripted, right? Doing these solo videos, I was doing that. And then I'm like, okay, this is not so bad. I'm getting better and better. And then I played around with just reading off of an outline. And that was scary. And I was like, oh no, this doesn't work. And then I was like, I did it back to scripting and that didn't feel good. And then I was like, oh, I got to try outlining again. Let's play around with it. And just getting up here and playing. And what happened is that the more I played around with doing solo podcasts, doing solo videos, the more I played around with it, my confidence grew in my insight. My confidence grew in what I bring to the table. Once I started being able to be consistent and play around with my outlines, my confidence grew with being able to speak without having something scripted. And so that's just one example of what it looks like to play around with different things. But where was I going with this? I forget what I was going with this. But that's just one way to play around with different things. You really get to expand and build your confidence when you play, when you step into that unknown. Also, what this requires for play is trusting that your desires is there for a reason. Is there for a reason. That pull, that that desire to maybe try to express yourself a little bit differently, right? To maybe play around with flirting, to show up to work in like new outfits. That desire to start doing your hair a certain way. That desire to learn different skills. That desire to do things your way and play around in your business. That desire is there for a reason. And you want to learn how to trust it. That is something that I'm really making. Entering 2026 is trusting that every desire that I have is there for a reason, because I believe desires is God gift to me. Like I truly believe that. And sometimes when we fight it, when we're looking for favor, when we're looking for luck, when we're looking for something to change our life, the thing is sometimes just right there. It's right there and we can't see it. We can't see it because of that lack of trust that it is there for us, that lack of trust that this is here for a reason and that is going to work out. So we stop ourselves. But if we just allow ourselves to just trust it and receive it and just play around with it, have fun with it, it doesn't have to be this set in stone thing. Like, you tried it, maybe you don't like it. Maybe you realize you don't like it, right? Like, I had certain desires to do certain things in my business because I thought like this was the way to do it. And when I tried it, I said, nope, I don't like this. And I tried it. I kept trying it because I thought this is the way to do it. And I had that desire because I saw someone else doing it that way. I didn't like it. And so, like, you get to play with even certain desires that come. If you don't like it, guess what? You get to go to the next thing and really follow what your desires are. And then another thing that this requires, like I've already touched on this a little bit, but this really requires you to make your own rules. Just make your own rules to live by. We don't have to follow anybody's rules, right? Like we get to design it the way that we want to design our lives. This is a game and we truly get to play it like how we want to play it. It's again goes back to questioning rules that you took on, questioning beliefs that you took on, and deciding that this is how you want to do it. I want to do it this way, and so I'm going to try it this way. So I truly believe that as a woman, like we are meant to break rules. Like we break rules. Like rule breakers are queens. Rule breakers are kings. Rule breakers make impact. Rule breakers make history because we get to create our own rules. We don't have to live by the rules of everyday life, the rules of like how things supposed to be. We get to play around with it and then we create our own rules that way. And so the next shift that I'm going to be making in 2026, starting now, like we're not waiting to 2026, but starting now is re-entering, reactivating my boss babe era. So this is something that like I've been so scared to do, still scared to enter this era again out of this fear of hustling. And I'm gonna go to like why I've been so scared. But if you obviously like I know that I speak to women who want more for themselves, who want to be ambitious, who is ambitious and have goals and have dreams and desires. And so like maybe you're like holding yourself back because you're scared to go all in. You want to be in your soft life. You want to like not work hard. Girl, I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. But let me just challenge you a little bit because I have those desires too. The reason why I was scared to enter this era again, because I was in this era before when I built my first business, my reselling business that I've talked about. is one, because the fear of I can't have fun anymore. This is one fear. When I was building my previous business, or when I was in network marketing and I was in this boss babe era, this girl boss, right? I truly restricted myself from having fun. I didn't have fun. I felt like if this wasn't working out, I can't have fun, right? Like fun to me was like non-existent in that era. And so that was a fear. The next fear that I had is because hustling in the past has really hurt my romantic relationships. It hurt my romantic relationships because I was so focused on grinding, so focused on making this a success, the business that I had, and then also just focus and feeling like either I can't have both. I can't have my business and I can't have romance. And it was because, like, the relationship that I was in, it was a constant struggle. It was a constant struggle. And a lot of times it was because I was too busy or I was too focused on being successful and things like that. And so that kind of formed this fear in me of, I can't have both. Like, as women, we want riches and we want romance. We don't just want romance and we just don't want riches. What is that? We want both, right? And so for a long time, I was thinking like sometimes the relationships could be an inconvenience to the success that I'm trying to have, or achieving the success could be an inconvenience to relationship. And I had a really hard time balancing both. And so I was scared to re-enter hustling, or I just didn't want to hustle anymore. The third thing, if you can relate to this, of course, is mom guilt. Having mom guilt, because thinking like entering that boss babe era, the mindset of that you're not going to be present or not going to be like a good mom because you're focused on building something, especially if you put a lot of hours into it, or you have a full-time job as well. And so all of these things, like these are things that I used to battle with. And it's because when I was working and like network marketing, yeah, I barely saw my daughter for a whole year. I saw her like obviously, but I will work at 8 o'clock in the morning, don't get home until 11 p.m. at night. And I was like so scared to ever step into this era again. Another thing is, again, you can relate, is draining myself. This is another fear, draining myself and getting overwhelmed easily. Hustling can do that. Hustling, right? Quote unquote, hustling can do that to you. It can make you feel drained. It can make you feel overworked. It can make you feel overwhelmed. And so that really deactivated my boss babe era. However, the shift that I'm making is that I've decided to re-enter, reactivate the boss babe era, because the good news, again, with playing, I get to play with the definition of hustling. I get to redefine, I get to make a new rule for myself of what hustling looks like for me. And so maybe this is something that you can do for yourself. Like redefine, if you've been scared to go all in because of a lot of these fears that I've had as well, what if you like played around with redefining what that looks like for you? It doesn't have to look like this draining, soul sucking, no fun, no love, no romance time of your life. It doesn't have to look like that for you. Instead, what I've decided to do is to really allow, is actually give myself permission to add pressure. Not hustle, but add pressure, because pressure, right, it creates diamonds. Pressure creates confidence. Pressure creates next level you. When you can work through pressure, there is so many unlocked levels of yourself that you will be so surprised. Like pressure is not a bad thing. Pressure is a great thing. Pressure is what helped me get out of being shy. Pressure is what helped me develop certain skill sets that helped me become a stay-at-home mom and build my own business at the time. Pressure helps you discover, it helps you unlock your potential. It helps you really unlock your greatest potentials, unlock your capabilities. It gets to stretch your experiences. It forces you to create discipline, to create structure. These are things, if you want to level up in your confidence and your self image, you want to have structure, you want to have discipline, right? And so, exchanging the hustle, right? Exchanging that hustle word to actually, I'm just going to add pressure to myself. I'm going to add pressure to step the freak up, right? Step up my identity, to add the pressure to step up in my skill set, the pressure to expand my capacity and still be a boss babe without feeling like I'm gonna have a meltdown because I'm like overwhelmed, or increasing pressure on yourself to maybe become a little bit more structured in what you are trying to achieve or with anything in your life, so that you can also have space for other things in your life to flourish, like your romantic relationships, being a good mom, having fun. Like, instead of focusing on fearing hustling, like how can we expand our capacity to take on more? And so this is the shift that I'm making, right? That boss babe reactivation is to help us thrive. We can't just be in a soft girl era. That's going to get us nowhere. Yeah, feminine energy, like all of that is cute. But if there is like no structure, no foundation there, no discipline, it's like you're a ball of flop, literally. Like, we need these things, and we shouldn't fear it anymore. We shouldn't fear like working hard. We shouldn't fear going all in. Instead, let's just add a little pressure, expand our capacity to be able to do both. Like, we can hold both. It is possible to have your business, achieve your dream goals, and still go on dates and still be a present mom. I hope this is making sense, because this is what I'm doing to really just level up how I see myself, how I show up in the world, how I train myself to achieve things the way that I want to achieve them, how I can train myself to have pressure to create a diamond out of me, to take myself to the next level. So it is okay to enter that boss babe era, right? Like, a lot of us are scared to do so because of these things. I'm sure like some of you may find this relatable, but it's like pretty much just giving yourself permission to thrive and redefining what that looks like for you. All right. So before I get to the third shift that I'm going to be making, if you feel called, if you feel this desire in your heart to elevate, to transform your self image, your confidence, I do have new courses that are coming soon in the new year. These courses are literally created to transform how you see yourself, your level of attraction, your radiance, to help you unlock your potential, your confidence, and achieving your goals and your dreams, and how you show up in love and a life attracting what you deserve and what you desire. If you said yes to any of that, if you feel called to experience these things, then join my email list. I'm going to put it in the description box. If you join the email list, you will be pretty much the first to get access to these courses when they drop. Also, if you are on the email list, then you will also get special offer. This is only for subscribers, that special offer. So again, if you're ready to transform, level up that self-image, level up that confidence, because you can apply that to everything in your life to just take it to the next level, go ahead and click the link in the description box. Any updates will be given as it gets closer to releasing. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and we are going to get to shift number 3 that I'm going to be making. So, shift number 3 that I'm going to be making that I've been working on for the past few months and I'm going to continue working on in 2026 is expanding my internal emotional container. Expanding that internal container to be able to hold heavy emotions, right? To be able to hold sadness, to be able to hold grief and anger and frustration, or experiences like failure and heartbreak, and still be able to thrive, to be able to experience pleasure, to be able to show up with confidence, to show up how you want, to be able to still keep your self image intact, right? To be able to show up in business and your life, your personal life, how you truly desire to, and be able to hold both. Okay, so why I'm making this shift, why I've started making this shift, is because what I've learned is that when you have a small container, this often causes self sabotage, hands down, because it is challenging to feel both. It is challenging to feel like you can thrive and challenging to be going through maybe depression or sadness at the same time. And if we want to be able to take ourselves, our how we see ourselves, how we feel, our how we want to show up in our confidence, our radiance, if we want to be able to get to that next level, we have to be able to extend our container. And this is something that I'm also currently working on. This is something that I've known from experience. When my container is very small, I've seen this over and over where like my emotions, if I going through something very emotional, like I just shut down. Like I stop showing up in certain things like I want to show up. I stop feeling like I can thrive when it's like really heavy emotions. That's going to fumble our next level. The next level version of you really requires to have a large container, right? This can't happen anymore if we want to see the next level. If you want to have momentum in your life, right? If you want to have momentum in your life in anything, whatever journey like you're on, whatever goals that you want to achieve, right? If shit is happening in your life and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't balance both, you're not going to be able to thrive and show up in the place that you want to show up because like your container is just too small and you're going to always be starting over. And I'm literally talking to you because I've talked to myself like this. Like you will always be starting over. No one has time to that. We get to continue building, but starting over all the time, it is literally a container issue. And so this is the last shift that I'm actually leveling up in. This is not a new shift. This is just a level up shift, and that is embodiment leveling up. I speak about embodiment. I spoke about it so many times. This is really what started my confidence journey, is embodying how like my most confident self is, how she looks, how she shows up. And so this is a huge part of my journey. And as I spoke about this, I was like, this is the quickest way to get to becoming the person that you want to be, to experience the things that you want to experience, is through embodiment. Is through embodiment. And it is stepping into that energetic field to really internalize this person, to become one with the person that you desire to be. But the thing with this is that each year, this looks different, right? Each month, this can look different. So for me, what I'm looking to embody this year, just to share it, is fearlessness. I'm not a person who is afraid of a lot of things, but I have realized that sometimes when life, it creates a little bit of fear, right? It creates a little bit of restriction. it creates a little bit of like fear to really play full out, to live on the edge. And so I really want to tap back into fearlessness because I believe that like your next level stuff, like fear is, I saw somebody's put like, it said fear is, oh my gosh, what is it? Fear is the ticket of admission or something like that. Oh, price, yes. Fear is the price of admission. Like, it really is. Like, I plan on eating fear for breakfast. Eating fear for breakfast, like in multiple areas of my life, not just business at all. And so, what does embodiment look like for me in fearlessness is just to give you a few is like owning my desires even more without downplaying it. Like I'm over downplaying some desires that I have. I don't want to downplay it anymore. I know what I desire. And I like no longer feel guilty for that. Right? The fear of letting go of certain things, maybe letting go of people who are wasting your time, letting go of walking away from a relationship that you fear that you're never going to meet someone again. I've worked through that multiple times in my life. The fear of leaning back and not chasing because you think that if you lean back too much, like you're going to lose it or you're going to lose the person or you're going to lose the dream or whatever that case may be. For me, that's like reactivating my boss babe era, like being fearless in this decision, trusting my ideas, playing with ideas, trusting that I get to make my own rules in spite of fear. I don't know if it's going to work out. I don't know if any of the ideas, the desires that I have, I don't know that it's going to work out. But how would I show up to be fearless and going after my goals and showing up how I want to be in a relationship, right? The fear of being yourself, being authentic online if you're a content creator, being authentic and believing that like you're still going to be received, speaking up, saying what you need, saying what you want, right? In spite of fear of rejection. This is what that next level looks like is eating fear for breakfast, literally. And so that is just a next level shift in embodiment that I'm making. But maybe you're at your first level of learning what embodiment looks like for you with your self-image, with your confidence, or in your business, in your dream goals, or the word that you want to embody, right? Fearlessness, limitless, radiance, ease. Like, what does this look like for you? Something that you want to truly incorporate that's going to take you to that next level. Like, who is she? Who is she? How is she going to show up? And so, ladies, that is it. These are the shifts that I'm making. And I hope like any one of these, it didn't have to be all, but these are maybe the shifts that you needed to hear to activate that next level version of you and how you're going to show up, how you're going to show up, how you're going to own the desires that you want to own. Like, how do you want to see yourself in 2026, right? Who do you want to embody? How do you want to play? How do you want to take risks? How do you want to get into this next level version of you? And so, any of these shifts that I make, I hope that it inspires you in any way. Maybe one of them spoke to you. But yeah, your next level requires some shifts. All right, ladies, that is it for today. I will speak to you in the next video. Bye, guys.